Gopi Janamala Rani Madam Ami Yashodananda Radhinanda Namuna Hiro Baba Kadi Namuna Hiro Baba Kadi Namuna Hiro Baba Kadi Amuna Hiro Baba Kadi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupagada Mayam Dadati Swabharantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragamatam Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagalalita Sri Vishakam Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakopachu Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patidhanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Sojaya Mudiraye
Nasta Preshu Bhadreshu
Nasapreshu Pradeshu
Nityam Bhagavat Shevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavad Yuttama Shloke
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki.
Bhakti Bhagavate Naistiki.
So today, Wednesday, wait a minute, what am I doing here on Wednesday? July 31st, 2024. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 23, Prithu Maharaj goes back home, and text number 39. Anudinamidam adarena shrinvam Ritu charitam patayan vimukta sangaha Bhagavati Bhavasindo Patopade Sacha Nipunam Labate Ratim Manusha Anudinamidam adarena srinvan Anudinamidam adarena srinvan Pritu charitam pritayan vimukta sangaha Bhagavati Bhava Sindhu Potapade Acha Nipunam Labate Ratim Manusha. That's not right either. Anudinamidam adarena srinvan Prithu charitam pritayan vimukta sangaha Bhagavati Bhava Sindhu Potapade Sacha Nipunam Labate Ratim Manushaha Anudinamidam adarena srinvan Ritu charitam pratayan vimukta sangaha Bhagavati Bhava Sindhu Potapade Sacha nipunam labate ratim manushaha.
Anudinam idam adarena shrinvan.
Anudinam idam adarena shrinvan.
Ritu charitam pratyayam vimukta sangha.
Ritu charitam pratyayam vimukta sangha.
Bhagavati bhava sindhu potapare.
Bhagavati bhava sindhu potapade. Sacha nipunam labate ratim manushaha. Anudinam idam adarena shrinvan. Ritu charitam pratyayam vimukta sangha. Bhagavati bhava sindhu potapade. Sacha nipunam labate ratim manushaha. It is an irregular arrangement of syllables. The synonyms, please repeat. Anudinam, day after day. Idam, this. Adarena, with great respect. Shrinvan, hearing. Prithu Charitam, the narration of Prithu Maharaj. Pratayan, chanting. Vimukta, liberated. Sangha, association. Bhagavati, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhavasindhu, the ocean of nescience. Pota, the boat. Ade, whose lotus feet. Saha, he. Cha, also. Nipunam, complete. Labate, achieves. Ratim, attachment. Manushaha, the person. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Whoever, with great reverence and adoration, regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaj Prithu's activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. Please repeat. Whoever with great reverence and adoration regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaja Prithu's activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The word Bhavasindhu Potapade is significant in this verse. The lotus feet of the Lord are known as Mahatpadam. This means that the total source of material existence rests on the lotus feet of the Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 10:8, Aham Sarvasya Pravabaha, everything is emanating from Him. This cosmic manifestation, which is compared to an ocean of nescience, is also resting on the lotus feet of the Lord. As such, this great ocean of nescience is minimized by a person who is a pure devotee. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord need not cross over the ocean, for he has already crossed it by virtue of his position at the Lord's lotus feet. By hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord or the Lord's devotee, one can become firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. This position can also be achieved very easily by narrating the history of the life of Prithu Maharaj regularly every day, The word Vimukta Sangha is also significant in this connection. Because we associate with the three qualities of material nature, our position in this material world is full of dangers. But when we engage in the devotional service of the Lord by the process of Sravanam and Kirtanam, we immediately become Vimukta Sangha, or liberated. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 23rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Maharaj Prithu's Going Back Home. Anudinam idamadarena shrinvam Vitu charitam apatayan vimukta sangaha Bhagavati bhavasindhu potapadi Sacha nipunam labate ratim manushaha. Whoever with great reverence and adoration regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaj Prithu's activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. Mukum karoti vachalam angam lagayate girim jadikripa tamaham bande sigurum maditacharinum. So this is the final verse of this chapter 23. Very nice verse. Srila Prabhupada immediately points out the phrase, Bhavasindhu Potapade. Bhavasindhu means the ocean of nescience. There used to be a devotee in Florida named Bhavasindhu. We used to call him Bhavasindhu, the Jivin Hindu. And he was a musician. I think he ended up way out in left field in Hawaii somewhere, in the middle of the Bhavasindhu, the middle of the ocean of nescience, unfortunately. And he became a devotee together with his buddy. Bhavasindhu was a guitar player, and his buddy Steve was a bass player. And then Steve became Stavamala, and he's still active in Krishna consciousness there in Alachua, Stav. So we are all struggling in this Bhavasindhu, this ocean of nescience. And if one is stuck in the middle of the ocean, then what shelter or hope does that person have? What are you going to do? Grab onto the fin of the shark that's struggling in the ocean? One will simply drown. But if one has a boat, then he can cross over the ocean. So here, the word pota is used, boat. Pota pade, the Lord's lotus feet, or that boat by which we can cross over the ocean of nescience. And Prabhupada in the purport is very liberally taking from and referring to one of the prayers of Lord Brahma from the 14th chapter of the 10th canto. The prayers of Lord Brahma, after he had stolen the cowherd boys and the calves, as they were with Krishna, he was thinking, who is this Krishna? He's just some upstart cowherd boy. Let me show him my mystic power. So Krishna was sitting with the boys about ready to take lunch, and then they noticed that the calves had wandered off. And so the cowherd boys saying, we have to go get the calves. Krishna said, don't worry, you just sit nicely, take lunch, I will get the calves. And as soon as he left the company of the cowherd boys, Lord Brahma, by his mystic powers, which are very great, and he was also thinking, I have great mystic powers, let me show this Krishna. Who's this Krishna? Of course, he was illusion. That's called Brahma Vimohan Lila. Mohan means illusion. Vimohan means really an illusion, super illusion. So he was thinking that he was more powerful than Krishna. So he took away the boys, And as Krishna was searching after the calves, he took away the calves. And he put them in a mystic slumber. He covered them by sleep and hid them in a cave. I'll show that Krishna. So Krishna, he returned and he saw there was no cowherd boys and there was no calves either. And he immediately could understand, being the omniscient personality of Godhead, what had taken place. So he didn't say anything to Brahma, but in order not to disturb his pastimes and life in Vrindavan, he manifests out of his own energy all the cowherd boys in their individual features and personalities and dress, etc. And then he did the same thing with the calves. And so he had a whole set of calves and a whole set of cowherd boys. And he maintained this set of cowherd boys and calves for one whole year. Because Lord Brahma, he turned away, having put the boys in mystic slumber, and then he thought, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have done that. It wasn't such a good idea after all. I was getting a little puffed up here. And so he turned away, but in the time of the demigods in the heavenly planet, a whole year had passed. And then when he turned back, there was Krishna and the same cowherd boys, and there was the calves. He was like, well, wait a minute, I stole those boys and calves. And now I turn around and they're back there again. And so he checked the cave. And yep, they were still there in the cave. But here was a whole other identical set. How did that happen? Meanwhile, life in Vrindavan went on for a whole year. And the parents of the cowherd boys, they became extremely affectionate towards those boys who were manifestation of Krishna's personal energy. So they already loved, of course, their children, the cowherd boys, but in Vrindavan, everyone loves Krishna the most. And so their attraction for and love for these cowherd boys, which were expansions of Krishna's energy. Of course, everyone and everything is an expansion of Krishna's energy. But these were direct expansions of Krishna. And their love and their hearts increased 1,000,000 times for those boys. So they were really enjoying bliss because they were serving their children, but those children were Krishna, expansions of Krishna. And this is all taking place by Krishna's Yoga Maya. So the conditioned souls in the material world, namely ourselves, we are covered by Krishna's energy, the Mahamaya. And we are bewildered and illusioned by that energy. And the residents of the spiritual world, they are liberated, but they are also covered by Krishna's energy, by his spiritual internal potency, Yoga Maya. So they are under a different spell than the spell that we are under. And the spell that we are under, the spell of Maya, it is very lamentable. And it has ignominious consequences upon our every movement in this material world. That material potency covers us. First it throws us, then it covers us. And then we suffer in so many ways because we identify ourselves as a product of that illusory energy. That is not our natural position, but that is our position at the moment. And because we are covered in that way, then what is the result? Is that we suffer. That's Maya's business, to make us suffer. And that is the result of forgetfulness of Krishna. But these residents of Vrindavan, they are under the shelter of the spiritual energy, which is actually mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Mahatmanas timam parta, daivam prakritim ashritaha, that the great souls, Krishna says, the Mahatmas, they take shelter of me, Mahatmas tu mam partha daivam prakritim, under my spiritual potency. Daivam prakritim ashritaha. Ashritaha means to take shelter. So that is the position of the pure devotees, even in this material world, as taught to us by Srila Rupa Goswami. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nikalashvapya vashtasu jivan mukta sa uchate. That even though one may be in this material world possessed of a material body, if one is in the consciousness of thinking harer dasye, that one is the servant of God, and karmana manasa gira, by one's activities, karmana, manasa, within the mind, gira, with the power of speech, one engages himself in the service of the Lord, then jivan mukta sa uchate, he is called a liberated soul, even while in this material world. So that is the position of pure devotional service, which is something that can be attained by each one of us. So there is hope. Don't just lament that, oh, I'm in so much Maya. Yes, that may be true. Or yes, it is true. I'm in so much Maya, then, oh, woe is me. Well, no, there's no reason to take up that consciousness of hopelessness. That is also Maya's trick. You're stuck. You can't do nothing. You're doomed. You're a fool to repeat your same mistakes over and over and over again. So don't even try. Just wallow in your misery, which is a normal position for the conditioned soul, to wallow in the misery. And that is the association in the material world. As the saying goes, misery loves company. Oh, I'm so miserable. Oh, you are miserable too. Oh, we are good friends. We are very good friends because we are wallowing in the misery together. Just like the pigs wallowing in the mud together, enjoying their pig life, their wallowing life. But no. Tamasirma Jyotir Gamaha. Don't remain in the darkness. Tamasirma Jyotir Gamaha. Go to the light. Take shelter of Krishna consciousness. And with every ounce of strength, with every fiber of your being, make that endeavor to achieve the shelter of Krishna by practicing Krishna consciousness nicely. It's really that simple. If you follow nicely, if you practice nicely, then you will become purified very quickly and very powerfully, and make good, strong spiritual advancement. But if you don't follow, well, it's compared to pouring water on the fire while trying to light the fire. You're trying to light the fire, and then you're pouring the water with the other hand while you're trying to light the fire. You just can't get it going on. It doesn't work. It's a foolish attempt to transgress the laws of physics, but it doesn't work. But the way is clear by following the orders of the spiritual master and following the injunctions of the Shastra and associating with devotees who are determined and on the path. Then one can develop, as in today's verse, unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. Unflinching, that's a powerful word. You know, like one of these kung fu masters, and they shoot a gun and a bullet goes coming right at him, and he just moved to the side 1 millimeter, and the bullet goes past his head. He doesn't flinch. He's not afraid. He's expert. He's not flinching. It's just by millimeters only, he can avoid any damage. But otherwise, he's in a steady state, and he's calm, he's possessed within himself. Somebody takes a swing at the Kung Fu master. What does he do? Does he flip out? Does he get afraid? No, he moves his hand just like this to exactly the right place. And then the punch is blocked. But he only moves just enough. And he's not disturbed, he's focused. His meditation is so ideally fixed. Of course, this is kind of a fantasy glorified in the Kung Fu movies and all those kind of things. But our faith and attraction to Krishna needs to come to the unflinching platform where we are not diverted or deviated by any of Maya's tricks. And Maya's tricks are very subtle. Very subtle. How is it that Maya is so expert at these subtle tricks? Well, she's empowered by Krishna, for one thing. Krishna is telling Maya, don't let anyone disturb me who is not my devotee and fixed up in Krishna consciousness. You keep them under your spell. Maya's, yes, my Lord. So Maya is so expert. That's one of the 26 qualities of the devotee, expert. Maya is very expert in her service of keeping the conditioned souls tightly gripped, tightly bound up by her tricks. And she knows what's going on with you. So she knows how to push your buttons and how to throw the little tricks at you in such a way that you become bewildered. She's expert at that. It's like, it's not fair. Maya's not fair. She has such an advantage. She's empowered by Krishna. And she knows everything about you. She knows what it takes. She knows what you're interested in that you shouldn't be interested in. But she knows. Maybe no one else knows. But oh Maya, she knows. She knows where you're at. She knows just how to sneakily bewilder you. So, what hope is there for the conditioned soul? Daivihi shagunamai mama maya dhirayaya. You can't cross on beyond the material energy. How is it possible? It's impossible. Dhirayaya. You can't do it. Well, there is a loophole. Mam eva ye prapajante. That certainly those, Krishna says, who surrender to me, mayame tam tarantite. Oh yes, they can go beyond. They can cross beyond Maya. Only those who surrender. So that is a key, prapajante, it's a key word in the Bhagavad Gita. Bahunam janmanam ante, gyanavam mam prapajante. Krishna tells us that after going through bahunam, unlimited millions of janmana, births and deaths, ante, after all that, Gyanavan mam prapajante, one who is in knowledge, prapajante, surrenders unto me. And what is the synonym of that surrender? Vasudeva sarvam iti. He knows that Krishna is everything. I remember we had a program one time at the home of Chaitanya and Rita over the holidays or something. And Kirtan Jogya's wife had just come from Nepal quite recently. And we were going around, everyone was speaking their realization. And then she became very emotional in speaking her realization, and she said, Krishna's everything. Bahunam Jamanam Ante. After many, many births, Gyanavan Mam Prapadyante. One who knows surrenders to Krishna. Vasudeva Sarvamiti, knowing that Krishna is the cause of all causes and everything that be. So somehow or other she cried out, knowing that Krishna is everything. Pretty good realization, huh? It's right out of the Bhagavad Gita. I was stunned. Wow. She understands. Gyanavan Mam Prapadyante. Of course, now comes the Prapadyante part. But she knows Vasudeva Savamiti. Asamahatma Sadurlabaha. Such a great soul is very difficult to find in this world. One who knows. So, after finally 1 year of the cowherd boys and the calves being replaced by the Krishna forms who look like those cowherd boys and calves, and whose parents were experiencing so much love, and the cows in the same way were experiencing so much unlimited affection and attraction to their calves because those calves were Krishna. And this was illustrated when one day on Govardhan Hill, the cowherd boys were with the calves up on the Govardhan Hill, and the cowherd men were down lower on the hill with the cows. And then the calves saw the cows, and the cows saw the calves. They saw their Krishna calves, and they broke free, and they started running towards the calves and the cowherd boys. And the cowherd men were like, hey, this is not how things work around here. We keep the calves and the cows separate. And then they started running after those cows, and they became angry. The cows have broken free. They're going to the calves. The calves are going to drink all the milk. This is not how you do cowherd man business. It's not how it works. And then they saw their sons, their children, the cowherd boys with Krishna, and they forgot all about that cowherd business. And they started running to the cowherd boys, and they were grabbing them and hugging them, and tears were coming from their eyes, and the cows were licking the calves. And Lord Balaram looked at this whole scene and said, man, I never saw anything like that. And then he looked at Krishna, like, Krishna, what did you do? This is obviously something that's done by Krishna, because this is not ordinary. This exhibition of affection and love and breaking of the protocol, never seen anything like that. He knew Krishna's, and Lord Balaram didn't go out that day with the cowherd boys and Krishna when Brahma stole him, because it was his birthday and his mother was dressing and decorating him and doing some ceremony. So he didn't know anything about this kidnapping of the cows and the calves and the boys. So he saw this whole thing and he was like, whoa, Krishna did something, because this is a manifestation of Krishna's energy like nothing I've ever seen. And then when Lord Brahma, after 1 year, which is just a brief moment of his time, turned back and he saw the cowherd boys are still there. The calves are still there. I put him away in the cave. What happened? He was looking, was trying to figure out what was going on. And then he saw those cowherd boys turn into these Vishnu forms. They transformed into these Vishnu forms and they started dancing. And he became completely bewildered. Ah! And then he realized, Krishna's power is greater than my power. He has completely bewildered me. Rama Vimohan Lila, which is not accepted by some parties in our Sampradaya, even though it's a chapter of the Bhagavatam. So then he came before Krishna in a solitary place, and he bowed down to him, And he began to offer his prayers. And he apologized to Krishna for thinking, he said, I was so puffed up thinking my energy was great, but my power is nothing compared to your Maya. I have just witnessed that. And so in the 58th verse of that chapter, 14, Prayers of Lord Brahma, which is one of the all-time fabulous, wonderful chapters of the Bhagavatam. And why should it not be? After all, he's Lord Brahma, the person who was enlightened by Krishna at the beginning of creation, the head of our Sampradaya, and the father of Narada Muni and Lord Shiva, the head of the disciplic succession. Although he was bewildered, he became bewildered. Still, by Krishna's mercy, he regained his Krishna consciousness, and then he offered his prayers. So in that text 58, he says, Samasrita ye padapalava plavam mahat padam punya yusho murari bhavam buddhir vatsa param padam padam yavi padam natesham. That, similar to today's verse about how the Bhava Sindhu Pota Pada, the lotus feet of the Lord are like a boat, he says, Samasrita, those who take shelter, Samasrita ye pada palava lavam, of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are like a boat. For them, this whole Mahat Padam, which is referred to in today's purport also, this whole Mahat Padam becomes, the whole Bhava Sindhu becomes struck up to Vatsa Padam. Vatsa means calf. The hoofprint of a calf. The whole ocean becomes shrunk up to a little hoofprint of a calf, which can be easily crossed by those who have samasrita ye, those who have taken shelter of those lotus feet. And this Mahat Padam is a place that is full of many dangers and tribulations. Indeed, Padam, there's danger at every step. At every step, there is danger. Since I've been here in Arizona, I've had a couple of those danger at every step moments. One was when I stepped on the wheelchair ramp and fell and broke my arm. Just a normal step, never saw it coming. Another time before that, I'd been out, it was on a recycle day, and there was something interesting in the recycle can. I stepped on the curb to look at it, and my shoe flew out from my foot. Somehow, nobody's wearing easily removable shoes. The shoe flew out from my foot, and I kind of tripped on that curb and sprained my ankle on my way back home from the temple. That was a painful walk. Padam, yavi padam natesham. This world is a place of danger at every step, full of old age, disease, death. It's full of death. At every moment, there's danger everywhere. It may seem okay for a while, but it's going to get you. Or what you think is you. If you think you're the body, it's going to get you. No one lives the perfect, pain-free, happy life on some tropical island. It just doesn't exist in this world. But actually, that existence that we hanker for, that perfect tropical paradise with the great weather and the nice fruits and the beautiful people, that is Vaikuntha. That's the spiritual world. And that is our real home. Not this dark, hot, dry, material world, or sometimes too dark, too wet. If you have flooding, one place is flooding, another place is drought. It's like you can't win. It's always something. That's the way the material energy has the game rigged, just like the casinos. They have it rigged. You may think, oh, I'm going to go in there and win, and then you lose your ass because you're thinking, the next time I will win. That's compared to the bull and the duck. The bull is walking by the shore of the river, and he walks by the duck. The duck looks up, and he sees the bull's testicles hanging there and swinging, and he thinks, it is a fish. It's a really nice fish. So he starts following the bull, waddling along behind him, thinking, at any moment, that fish will drop, and I will enjoy. So what will we say about that duck? He's a fool. He thinks it's a fish. What illusion he's in. And then he's waddling along behind, very enthusiastic. Here comes it. That is the conditioned soul. Thinking that at any moment that fish will drop right into my lap, and I will be so happy. But it never happens like that. And even if he gets the fish, who knows, it may be contaminated by some bacteria or mercury or something. He eats it and he gets cancer and he dies. You just can't win under the conditions of material existence. There's just no way. The game is rigged, just like the casino. They have in those old cowboy movies where they'll be doing the casino wheel and they have a foot switch underneath and they press it to stop on the one that nobody bet on. And everybody's watching this going around. It's going to land on my number. Nope. Of course, somebody may win, some here, some there. But you know what they say? The house always wins. So Maya always wins. And people become very worked up over thinking that I'm going to win next time. Next pull of the handle, next hand of the cards, I'm going to win, and they lose everything. And then they have to cheat and lie and steal, and their lives are destroyed because they're got a really bad case of duck syndrome, duck-fish syndrome. It's going to drop into my hands at any moment. So, but those who have taken shelter of the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, Prabhupada says here in the purport, they don't even have to cross the ocean. They're already beyond it because of their attachment to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's the position that practicing Krishna consciousness will bring us to gradually. If we follow nicely, not sometimes following, sometimes not following, giving up, lamenting, taking bad shelter of inauspicious things or activities. No, just remain fixed in your service, in your chanting, in your following the principles of Krishna consciousness. And Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, every day performing this Bhagavat Sevaya, devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. And then you will achieve the goal. I'd written one song, and the line in the song was, follow the spiritual master, make his word your life and soul. Do not deviate, no, never, and you will reach the goal. And you will reach the goal. So that is the instruction given to us by the spiritual master who wants us to succeed. He's on our side. Krishna is on your side. Therefore, it is said, if you take one step towards Krishna, he will take 10 steps toward you. So we have to keep making those steps. Not one step toward Krishna, and then like some kind of dance, 3-4 steps back. Oh yeah, it's very artistic. Step up and step forward. Go back a few steps. Yes, I'm very tricky. I'm very intelligent. I'm very artistic. No, take that step forward. Krishna will come closer to you. Take another step. Krishna will come even closer. Keep going in the proper direction. All right, so we'll stop here. Questions, comments, realizations. Sureshwar Prabhu.
You mentioned how there's some devotees, they're Gaudiya Vaishnavas, who don't accept Brahma Vimohana Lila. I'm just curious who they are, or the references for that.
I believe it's in the Madhava Sampradaya.
Madhava Samhita?
Madhava Sampradaya.
Oh, Madhava.
Our
They
Sampradaya.
don't accept Brahma Vimohana Lila.
They do not.
That's strange because they're really into Sakyavas, but they don't accept that. Okay, where can I read that in Prabhupada's books?
You can Google it.
All right, we'll see if we get a Prabhupada reference.
They don't believe that it's possible to want to become Lord.
Yeah, he's our guru, our founder of our Sampradaya. How can he be bewildered? Not happening.
What did they say about him getting bewildered by his daughter earlier in Bhagavatam?
Yeah, I don't know specifically. Like I say, Google it and then you can report back to us.
All right.
Okay.
I've also heard that many times, that the Madhvacharya people don't accept the Brahma Vimohana. But thank you for the beautiful class. I wanted to just, you mentioned this nice point about the, like, people, they can get, and Maya is always attacking us, but then rather than being enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness, one becomes depressed and becomes, poor me, which is another trick of Maya. I'm in Maya, Prabhu, and so that's a very nice thing to bring out, that we can't be in the victim mentality. And then you mentioned the verse, Daiviheshu mam prapadyate, that gunamai daiviheshu gunamai mama maya mamevya prapadyante. This prapadyante is so interesting because people, sometimes we hear surrender, but we don't always necessarily know what surrender means. So you can speak a little on that if you don't mind.
Surrender means when the temple president asks you to do something, even if you don't want to do it, you do it. I know I get asked to do a lot of things by the temple president. And I may balk and ho-hum and prevaricate in various ways, but I always end up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the temple president thinks that I have refused. I have just only temporarily grumbled, but I will do it, and I'll do it right. I'll do it well, with full enthusiasm and strength and energy, even though I didn't want to in the beginning. So that's surrendering. Rise every morning according to your schedule, even if you don't want to do it. I would rather sleep. No. Perform your duties with full strength and enthusiasm, knowing what is the purpose behind that. So, yeah, there's a lot of, surrender can take a lot of forms. It can take a lot of forms. Lately, I've been having to surrender to dealing with the real estate lawyer and the architect and the title company. All things which I am not inclined to do at all in my program of life, in my plans. But, it's given to me, I have to do it. So the surrender comes, and then you have to just, onward Christian soldiers marching into war with the cross of Jesus going on before. Yeah, that's that song we sang when I was a little kid in church. That we are in a great battle, just like the battle of Kurukshetra. The battle is against illusion and darkness by taking up our japa beads and our mridangas and kartals and marching forth into the battle against illusion and darkness. All right, anyone else? Oh, yes. Chandrika, oh, we're so glad to see you. We're missing you.
Just based on what you were just saying just now.
Talk about surrender.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about surrender. So what we're finding as well, sometimes surrendering, like with our residents, sometimes they're used to, having people do things for them. So we're encouraging them to do things for themselves. Like, for example, one of our residents that's here, we're encouraging them to, wash their own plate. So we have a little washing station for them to do it. Okay. So it's basically sometimes on our end, it seems like we could surrender and go, okay, we'll just do it for you. But we have to sort of push as well. So surrendering, sometimes you're in a position to push others. So that's another form of surrender by doing that. Instead of surrendering to, I will do it for you, surrendering to others to be, independent in that way.
Yes, the many subtle aspects of surrender. And one has to be able to traverse that, knowing what to do and what not to do. But a essential component of Krishna consciousness is by hearing from the proper authorities, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, one understands what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. And one accepts the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra as the guiding principle of what should be done and what should not be done. Then one knows how to act properly. And accepting what ought to be done, even when one may feel inclined to do what ought not to be done, that is surrender. Accepting the guidance from the higher authority to do the right thing. What is that, Spike Lee? Do the right thing. So that is our motto. Do the right thing and do it for Krishna under the guidance of the spiritual master. All right, really good. Thank you all very much for coming this morning. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.